Hello, good morning. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Obalde. We are back again on another edition of this morning program here on your favorite channel, QTV Gambia. A new era in broadcasting. Wherever you're watching this program, we're saying a wonderful morning to you and your loved ones. How are you? How is your Thursday going? I mean, I hope you're putting that positive vibe and energy, to get ready and conquer your day. So on the platform, I'm with Mr. Ade Drame. Good morning, Mr. Ade. How are you?
I'm very well, and I'm also getting ready to conquer the day.
Conquer your day with a different.
Lots of things to do. So yes,
Absolutely.
looking forward to the day.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So how is it going? I mean, how is everything going? I can see you putting one or two things to make the news look more amazing.
We're trying. We should thank the Minister of Information who arranged for UTG to provide us with 4 interns. So they've joined us at the beginning of this year. They're here already, and they're working very hard, very diligent, and we hope they continue like that. They'll be with us for 3 months. And also,
Well, I can see, I mean, the passion, I mean, the love some of the interns have for the job, because I follow a lot of their reports, some of the reports on QTV. I think even yesterday there was a story filed. And I'll also say, I mean, I like what you did. I mean, that cutaway you took from this morning about the Kankurang Festival.
Yes.
You know, when Jenaba read the story, and I was wondering what footage are you going to use, because I didn't see any interview regarding that. So I saw the This Morning program.
Well,
so literally I was on the news. Yesterday.
You were indeed. and of course Lolly kind of put the story together, but of course, because she was featured in it, we didn't think it was appropriate for her to also read it. So Jenaba Sonko read the piece. Yeah, it was good.
Nice. So on the program, we'll take a look at the African code. And Mr. Ade Drame will be doing the newspaper review with us. We have very interesting stories, I mean, to deal with. And of course, we'll also be talking to the police PRO, ASP Modu Musa Sisaho, on the tragedy in Farafenye, the shooting incident. And of course, we'll also be talking about the Gambia Police Force intensifying the road clearing exercise as well. So we would be having the police PRO in the studios, and we'll be engaging him on
In
this.
the studio or on the phone? In the studio?
You know, he should be here.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
to discuss with us
Okay, good.
on this. Then we'll be talking about the mandate of the Association of Health Journalists of the Gambia.
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw the letter, I was like, okay, this is my first time of coming across this. I don't know why, for some reason.
Right.
We'll be talking to Sirif Sedikan, Assistant Secretary General. He would be here. And of course, a colleague, one of their colleagues too. I cannot remember the name because it was sent to me lately, late in the night. So I couldn't register it on our own order.
All right.
Yes. So we'll also be talking to Bai Babu as our last segment. Bai Babu is one of the most...
Mbalak landlord.
The Mbalak landlord. I mean, he said the landlord is back, rent is due. So he is about to host a very significant and a big event at Penchami Hall. I think it will be on Saturday.
Okay.
So we'll be talking to him. So on Thursdays, we would like to bring some entertainment, soft entertainment.
I see.
We will not do the usual way of entertaining, playing a lot of music.
Like we used to have with Click, you mean?
Exactly.
Right.
But we will be delving into the biography and the work life of certain individuals. Not only artists, but people who venture into different crafts as well.
Okay, great.
Yes. Cool. So, Mr. Ade Drame, let's take a look at the code. Leave footprints of love and kindness wherever you go. Love conquers the world.
It's what we should all try and do, and you just wish the rest of the whole world would think like that, because every day we hear about wars I saw people rejoicing at a supposed ceasefire in Israel-Gaza conflict. But to be honest, I don't think there's anything to rejoice over, because mark my words, a year or 5 years from now we'll be back to this, because it's solving nothing. They're not talking about two-state solution. That is the permanent thing that will end this cycle of violence. So yes, spread love and leave footprints. It's easy to say, but harder to do, because, as I say, you look around the world, you see a lot of conflict. But in our own personal ways, this is what we should try and do. Leave footprints of love and kindness wherever you go. You never know. An act of kindness today may be repaid tomorrow with an even greater act of kindness towards you. But just also, I think, as people, we feel good when we do something good for others, and we treat people with love and we show kindness to other people. I think it gives us a buzz to think, I did. You're not asking for any congratulations, but you just feel good in yourself that you were able to do good for somebody. So yeah, I certainly support.
But let's categorize love itself. I mean, how do we spread love? To what extent, should one spread love? If you are spreading love, and at some point it is not seen or it is not appreciated, love can be different.
Yes, and love is, there's many forms of love.
Exactly. You can even spread love by just simple saying, to motivate people.
Yes, words of,
to encourage people.
Yes, exactly. Words of encouragement, words of motivation, words of inspiration can be words of, but love is many faceted. It could be, romantic love. It could be love for your community, your village, your city, your country. There are many types.
But I think here it's talking about a different one. It's talking about
footprints of love. Yes, it just means be kind and show love to people wherever you go. So if you travel, and don't insult people, and usually if you don't, then as I said, what the payback will be, hopefully, will not be something negative but something positive. But what's your interpretation?
In fact, other issues and other problems we face as a world, love would have settled it. That sense of showing love, solving our problems with love, care, talking between us, amicably, to be able to solve certain things. But
easier said than done. I think as human beings, we seem to, there's never been a year where there's not been conflict somewhere. So when I used to see nonsense by people who were Trump supporters saying that when he was president there were no wars, it's nonsense. Even by the United Nations definition, there are at least 45 conflicts in various parts of the world, big and small. Look at what's happening in the Sahel region. So when people used to say, what they meant was Israel was not at war and Russia, Ukraine were not, as if those were the only wars that matter. What about Sudan? What about the 18-month war in Ethiopia? So there were always wars, and sadly, us human beings never seem to be able to get away from that. It's the tragedy of us that we can never live amicably with each other. We'll always find a reason to fight. Very sad.
Absolutely.
And depressing.
And depressed. Well, it's important to spread it wherever you go. It's important for one to spread things that will unite the world. All that we need is to unite, although it's a very difficult thing to do sometimes. It's a crazy world. Once you are pouring water on fire to put the fire off, some people are still trying to put fuel.
They'll pour petrol on that same fire. We talk about the African Union. It started life as the Organization of African Unity. We are 1 million miles from having anything such as unity even across Africa. But if we go back to our proverb, I think when they talk about footprints, literally they're talking about impressions. Leave good impressions so that when Balde leaves tomorrow, what we remember is the love that he brought, the love that he shared. You know, so that should be the impression, and it essentially that's what this is about. Make a good impression, make a positive one, and let it be one of love and
well,
kindness.
it's not, it's the example. It's not even
Love and
a
kindness,
very
as it
far
says, yeah.
example. Let's take a look at the difference between Sir Dawda and former President Yahya Jammeh. I mean, fine, two regimes that govern this country, but totally different when it comes to the way they operated and the way they spread that love. So when you talk about Sir Dawda, they'll tell you he was a great man. I mean, he loved his country. I mean, Sir Dawda tried to unite the country. But now when you talk about former President Yahya Jammeh, people have mixed feelings.
Yes.
Although some people don't think
Well, I was
like that,
about to
because
say,
many people think Jammeh can still come back and rule the Gambia.
well, this is it. So that's kind of that particular analogy. I'm not sure, because there are people who think that he was good and he was great. But, you know, as you said, for Sir Dawda generally, across the board, is positivity that people will remember him with. So yes, that's one example.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ade Drame. You are watching QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Balde, and Mr. Ade is our newspaper review guest. So we'll take a short break. After the break, the program is going to continue. We'll be right back.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte. Rifled in! Out.
ndax xam nga ne ak sa Q-Money wallet bi mun ngaa jënda cash power te doo si fay dara. Mun ngaa jënda bellu tollu si $1,000 jëfandikool ak suñu app bi wala nga dial *323# nga toppa sarta yi. Busal 3 pour jënda Q power. soo paree nga tànn register meter. soo paree nga dugal sa meter number bi. dial *323# nga toppa sarta yi. Busal 3 pour jënda Q power. Busal benn pour tànn app bi nga bëgg a jënda. te it di nga bànneexul si free call bu la Qcell di may saay boo dugalee xaalis pour jënda Q power. pour am si lu la leer koolal 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe.
We are back. You are watching QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. So thank you very much for always tuning into this program. I mean, we have a lot of people from different parts of the world that follow this program. Not forgetting our follower in the Philippines. Who could have imagined someone can be viewing this program?
And don't forget Angela.
Oh, Angela, our Angela. How are you? I hope everything is going well there.
Yes.
You know, we also have our brother Ibrahim Jawara, a grandchild to former President Jawara.
Is he in Spain or where is he?
He's currently in the Gambia,
In the
but
Gambia.
from the United States.
Okay, right.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, Mr. Adedrame, I think we'll now go straight to the newspaper review.
Yes, I hope you have them there. Because I
And
don't.
the PRO of the Gambia Police Force is on his way
Yes,
to the studios here.
Yes,
And we'll be talking about the
shooting incident.
The shooting and, of course, the clearing exercise as well.
Yep.
They're intensifying. I don't know what intensify they're talking about again, because we've seen previously they've been clearing. So I think it's still clearing.
Because people, I was quite amused when he talked about on the piece we did. I don't want to preempt what he's going to say here, but in the news piece he talked about pleased with the level of compliance. But from what our reporters could see yesterday, as soon as people saw the police coming, that's when they started gathering up their stuff and running out of the way. So I'm not sure that counts as compliance in my book, but maybe I have to check my dictionary.
Exactly.
But yeah, but you know, that's for his topic. When he comes, he can talk about it, and you can engage him on that. You know, he's on his way, as you say. But,
Yes, I mean, let's talk about President Adama Barrow's visit. I mean, on the Point newspaper, President Adama Barrow visited the university campus, and according to him, fine, he said there are other projects that are way behind. In fact, there is a building that was supposed to be completed before the independence celebration. So that is in fact the target. But it's like the delay, I mean, it's really causing a lot of damage. So they were expecting a completion before the Independence Day.
Well, I'm not sure damage, it's disappointment. But you know, whenever I hear these things, and I think sometimes we're a bit too, you know, this morning we had this same discussion about the ferry. You know, he went to look at the ferry, and that's behind schedule. I mean, there are many people watching this program who've probably been involved in building a house. If they're watching and they can raise their hands, how many of them set a target for when that house was going to be finished by a certain date, and it was finished by that certain date? It happens. It happens in small projects, happens in big projects, and there are 100 reasons why. So I never get too stressed about, oh, you know, they've gone past this date. Don't rush it. You know, if it takes time for it to be finished properly, let it be finished properly, however long it takes. Yes, there's disappointment, but you use the word damage. There's disappointment when these things are not completed on time. But sometimes you have to wonder, because for example, yesterday when the president went, amongst other things, some of the workers at one of the sites had downed tools and they were protesting about poor pay and you know, making a lot of noise. The president had to intervene, you know, and try and mediate, act as mediator, something he wasn't expecting, you know. So that downing of tools is another thing that would have delayed that project. So
True.
There are many, many reasons why projects are delayed, and it happens. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but that's the reality. You know, as I said, big projects, small projects. We know of buildings that should have been completed 2 years ago, still being constructed, and so yeah. So they would have loved for it to have been done ahead of the independence celebrations, the 60th, you know, big, you know, Diamond Jubilee. But it was not to be, or it is not to be.
Yeah, he also visited other project sites, the like of Ministry of Environment's new building at Abuko Nature Reserve, the KMC.
Yes.
According to the president, I mean, I watched it on the QTV News, he said initially he doesn't like the place, like the location.
He didn't like the location, but now he says, I'm growing to,
the location.
I'm getting to
but
like
now
it.
he's loving the idea.
Yeah,
I mean,
that can happen.
Probably he doesn't want the ministry's building to be located that far, probably.
But I mean, we've got ministries, you know, higher education. They're in, you know, what, Bigelow. So you have them all over the place, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, because there are only so many ministries you can fit into the quadrangle in Banjul. Let them expand, and yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing if some of them are not based, you know, in Banjul itself. Yeah, let them be based in other places. It happens in other countries. Although in the UK, almost every government ministry is in Westminster. In fact, not almost all of them. Their head office is in Westminster. Yeah.
Exactly. So here, George is telling police officers to be law-abiding, you know, for failing to produce station diary.
This is when they come to cases that are in court. This is part of the evidence.
Yeah. I think director was in hearing when I was saying the Point newspaper.
Yeah.
He said I should mention the paper.
I'm not sure the audience want to know that you and the director are having an argument, but you know, yeah. I mean, they're meant to produce these because it's crucial sometimes to the evidence. And the fact of them failing to produce them, it might mean that they weren't being kept properly, or that there's something funny going on. So, yes, the judge or the magistrate is absolutely right. By not doing so, they're breaking the law, because the law says that these diaries should be kept, and when required to be produced, they should be produced in court. So if they're not, then that's a problem. And like you said, you can't have the police breaking the law because they're the ones who are meant to be enforcing the law. You know, so they should be the last people to be breaking it. But again, they're human beings, and human beings do things that they shouldn't do.
Exactly. So let's take a look at the Turkey donates 17 armored personnel carriers to Gambia Armed Forces. I mean, you know, when I saw these armored trucks, I was wondering, how did they bring it into this country?
They probably were shipped.
Through cargo?
Probably shipped or by cargo
shipped,
plane,
yes,
but probably shipped. And yes, they look quite impressive. You know, they have them in many parts of the world, and countries require them for, you know, most countries, armed forces, defense. For their defense. I'm not sure who we're defending against. The only people who could probably attack us would be Senegal, because we're kind of, Gambia is embraced by Senegal. And I saw Senegal's army parade, and they have a lot more heavy duty stuff than we do. But I guess, you know, we just hope, you know, people were saying we hope it's not going to be to intimidate civilians, and we hope that's not the case. I think we've moved on from those days when, you know, that's it. But most African countries for many years spent more time fighting their civilians than fighting other countries, really. You know, and they talk about defending the territorial integrity of the particular country, but many times, if you look across Africa, a lot of times it was their own civilians who were the victims of their own armies. So that's quite something of a tragedy across Africa, really. Yeah.
So KMC postpones Operation Sanity.
Yes. What is Operation Sanity?
Well, that's the question here.
I thought you were going to tell me, seeing as you mentioned it. But you know, are they sanitizing something?
Sanitizing.
Or bringing sanity to the you know, political arena? I'm not sure what that one is about. So, sorry, I can't comment on that.
Oh. Okay, to clear roadsides. I mean.
Oh, the sanity is about clearing roadsides.
Yes, exactly. That's what they're talking about.
Well, I'm not sure it's something that should be postponed now. If they're talking about clearing roadsides, is it of debris? Because we certainly need that. I mean, our roadsides and, you know, the verges that run along most of the roads, they're quite filthy, and they do need to be cleaned. I mean, we can't even pretend otherwise. I was driving a friend Chukwemeka Chikezi, who was here on this platform with Professor Fall. And, you know, he was commenting on all the debris he could see along the approach as we went from Sting Corner into Banjul. All along the side of the road was just debris strewn. So it's not just KMC, it's everywhere. It's everywhere, and we do need. So if that's what they're talking about, then yes. If it's traders and so on, then, you know, you've got Operation Clear the Road is kicking into the next gear, 5th gear. And that is a kind of never-ending thing, because we clear people and then, you know, a couple of months later they're back. They're back. As I said yesterday, when our reporters were going around, they saw people scampering to move their stuff because they saw the police approaching. It wasn't as if it was left clear for people, you know, for pedestrians, for vehicles and so on. It was clogged up, it was overrun, people had encroached, and when they saw the police, they fled. So, you know, I'm not sure how they're going to enforce it other than having people stationed permanently at certain places to make sure that people don't encroach. Otherwise, the minute they think there's nobody around, they'll come back.
Absolutely. You know, sometimes it takes a great deal to be able to apply the rules, because if some don't care about you know, the law.
Well, there's applying the rules, there's also obeying the rules. You know,
but you know,
we should also try and
interestingly,
obey the rules.
I was talking to someone. I think he's in the service. He said, okay, at the end of the time, there are other laws. There are other laws that are implemented, and these laws, when you take the individual to court, they'll tell you on what law should we, I mean, hold this person accountable. So, and you cannot detain the person more than 72 hours. So you have to free the person, especially. Let's talk about the security measures that they are taking, I mean, to reduce crime rates in the country. You can see the police, they patrol the whole night, I mean, to apprehend people that are walking freely at night. Probably if I see you around my compound around 3 a.m., you know, maybe you are doing one or two things, it's not a problem. But when I see you around 3 a.m., the police, they have the right to arrest you. Because what are you doing at my vicinity around 3 a.m.?
Well, you know, we have some ancient laws that we keep saying have not been expunged from our books. So we have laws to do with loitering. We have laws to do with loitering with intent. Those are still there. You know, they haven't been kicked out yet. So you can be arrested on those
yes.
grounds.
So what he said was, I mean, the police will take you, then detain you. The following day, they release you. So it keeps happening all the time. You know, we need to revive our laws again.
Well, we can revive the laws. I mean, they having to release you is obviously because, you know, we have laws which say you cannot detain people without a certain, you know, beyond a certain number of hours without charging them with an offense. So that is part of the law, and that's as it should be. So if they detain you, I mean, sometimes you suspect they're doing it just to inconvenience these people who they think are criminals, who they think might be up to no good. So if they lock you up overnight, at least they've taken you off the street. But really the law and the sort of cells should not be used for that purpose. If they hold somebody, it should be because they have reasonable suspicion that you have committed a crime, or the law still has an instance where if they believe you were in the process of committing a crime, you might be walking around with massive cutlass and a gun. What are you going to say? I was going hunting? You know, so, you know, yeah, they can arrest you for those sorts of things.
Mr. Ade, do you know in the Gambia there are people that are keeping guns? I mean, at some point, there are guns, I don't know, hunting guns. They call them hunting guns. They are licensed to keep those guns.
Yeah, that's, and you find that in many countries. There are guns where people have a license to carry, and we have these hunting societies. And, you know, you can't send them into the bush hunting with pretend guns. So they have to have proper guns, and those guns are licensed. But there's never been a problem, really. I think what tends to happen recently is you've had kind of unlicensed guns that are sneaked into the country for people who wish to use them to commit crime. So, yeah, but even in countries like America, which has many, many gun deaths, a lot of the deaths are with licensed guns, sadly. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ade Drame, for reviewing the stories with us. I mean, always willing to come on the program and do this with us.
Always willing. You know, I'd hate to see this seat empty. You're talking to yourself, like at the moment you're hosting and co-hosting.
Hosting and co-hosting. Mr. Momodu Mboj, I mean, where are you, my dear uncle? All right. Ade, will probably might come back to you.
You might come back to me. I'm happy if you come back to me.
But for now, we'll take a short break. After the break, the program is going to continue. We'll be back.
More than happy if you come back to me.
Now you can send money from Gambia to Senegal directly from your Q Money wallet. So what are you waiting for? Get your Q Money account now and start sending money to your friends and families through Orange Money in Senegal now. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Q Money e Orange Money Johnny weɓini nuldugol mbuɗi mi yetoma joni iɗa wawi nuldude mbuɗi iwra ko Gambia ɗo yaha Sénégal e Q Money wallet ma on eyyi ko honno wonɗa e fadde mi yetoma udduto Q Money account ma on joni fuɗɗoɗa nuldude mbuɗi e teriɓe ma ɓe waɗon ka Orange Money nder Sénégal fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi iɗa wawi noddude Q Money customer care e 133 Q Money suñu kalpe ɗum no yaadi e sartaji. Q Money aning Orange Money ye bulo di nyola pour ka kodi kio sone yandi ka bonan Gambia banko kan kata Senegal banko kan aning Q Money wallet ika mune batu imuna fan Q Money account wala sign pour kadati ka kodoki iteri mal anila dimbayal kana aning Orange Money Senegal ni lafta ku Senegal sotola je Q Money customer care commandi 133 Q Money sunyu kalpe nying sartol le bala Q Money ak Orange Money ñoo lëkkaloo pour yombalal leen yónnee xaalis bàyyi ko Gambia dem ba Sénégal ak Q Money wallet looy toog di xaar dawal léegi nga ubbi Q Money account pour nga mun a door di yónnee xaalis sa xariteeg sa mbokka yi jaarale ko Orange Money Sénégal léegi pour am si lu leer mun ngaa call Q Money customer care si 133 Q Money suñu kalpe lii dafa ànd ak sarta yuñ tëral.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
Did you know you can buy cash power using Q Money Wallet absolutely free up to $30,000 Cs? Use our app or dial 323 hash and select Q Power. Choose Register Meter. Enter your meter number. Dial *323 hash and follow these simple steps. Number 1, select option 3 for Q Power. Number 2, choose option 1 to buy any amount of Q Power. Enjoy free QCell airtime every time you cash in to purchase Q Power. For any inquiries, call 133 Q Money, Sunyu Kalbe.
Mitoma. First time cross.
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. Thank you very much for following this program. If you're just tuning in, we've already dealt with the African Code and, of course, the newspaper review. And Mr. Ade Drame was the one taking us through the newspaper review, some of the stories, for us to understand what they were talking about. Now, let's talk to the Association of the Health Journalists of the Gambia. Well, I must confess, Mr. Ade, I mean, when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, they are here. We have them. So it's important for us to have health journalists. I mean, people who specialize on certain areas to be able to provide adequate information on that area. Probably there are journalists that might be able to do stories on health matters, but at some point they might not get that know-how and the terms, because it has a lot of terms when it comes to health. And, you know, to help us go through that, we have the gentleman from the Association of the Health Journalists of the Gambia, Sirif Sedikan, Assistant Secretary General. And, of course, the other name was sent to me lately.
He can introduce himself.
Yes, but I got it here. We have Modu Ture. Is it Modu Ture?
It is,
yes,
indeed.
it's good to have you. But Modu is not a new face when it comes to Gambian media. I mean, in fact, he does one of the, you know, agriculture program here on QTV, isn't it? Yeah. So, gentlemen, it's good to have you here.
Good to have you here. Happy to be with you. Happy to be here with you.
Yes. So let's start with tell us a little background of this association.
Well, basically, the association was formed in the 2000s by the late Fatou Toure, and coupled with other colleagues, the likes of Madi Cisse, who is a media proprietor, and also the late Pamoudou Fall. Okay. They felt the need to come together and form an association, because by then they were randomly reporting on health issues, but without a health body that is responsible to cater its members and also enhancing their capacity on health reporting, most especially accurate health reporting. So they collaborated with the National Nutrition Agency. It was even launched there, according to them, with the mandate to enhance and empower health journalists to accurately report on health issues in this country.
And why do you think it's why did you think it's important for one to specialize on health reporting matters?
Yeah, because one of the drivers is that health is underreported in this country. If you look at mental health and non-communicable disease and also nutrition, because notwithstanding, we are all aware that the country faces the triple burden of malnutrition. That is the overnutrition, undernutrition, and micronutrient deficiency. And we felt it vitally important to look at these issues critically, at a critical lens, to do stories and also amplify the voices of the health ministry in this country. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Modi, if we could come to you. We also talked about, yes, the reporting, but also advocacy. So I just wondered if you could just explain to us what form that advocacy takes, and also tell us how many members there are in the association.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me here. This is symbolic and historic for the first time appearing on the this morning show for the health journalists. I joined them in 2002.
Okay.
As my colleague earlier said, people were randomly reporting on health because health is everyday issue. There are emerging issues which need to be critically reported. So, and there are terminologies that need to be broken down for the layman to understand. That's why it's important for personnel who have knowledge in health to train us so that as journalists we'll be able to filter that information to the masses. So in the Gambia, this is a challenge for journalists to specialize. But for the health journalists now, most of us already are au fait with the terminologies in health, and we are able to now explain them in simpler languages and also local languages. So in advocacy, we're looking at issues and that are pertinent to our health. For example, when we talked about eating habits, of late, this is one of the programs that we've undertaken, that is nutrition, food intake, the balanced diet. So then we will get training on that, and then inform the masses about the implications of not consuming the adequate diets. Then in that they will understand the type of diets that are important for.
So could you give us examples of some of that?
For example, carbohydrate. You have the carbohydrate, like rice, and you have the fruit and vegetables. You have all the minerals.
And it's about striking a balance, isn't it? Because some people just eat one type of food
yeah,
only.
you're right. Then we will, because people sometimes people are very accustomed to these things. So changing them. It takes time.
But I won't mention my colleague upstairs who said if I haven't eaten rice on a particular day, then I haven't eaten.
So in advocacy, what you do, you don't necessarily have to condemn them eating consuming rice, but then make them understand. It's important for them to have energy, because rice is one of the sources of energy as ingredient of carbohydrate. But then let them understand that you need to take other fruits, vegetables, and other ingredients that can boost your immune system and also help to give you energy So they will understand in that way. There's more of advocacy. You don't actually tell them this is not right.
Quite.
They will, with time, they will change.
Yeah.
That is, in other words, we call this also behavioral change. Communication is also part of our reporting also.
Sure.
Because we report on issues. We keep on, people read it in newspapers, they watch it on televisions, listen to radio stations.
Well,
but
I was going to come to that because you said something very interesting. You said about using local language.
Yeah.
Because I just wondered, how do you take the message out? If most of what I've seen have been articles in newspapers.
Yeah.
Well, Sheriff, you were going to come in.
Yes, thank you very much. In addition to what Mr. Toure said, we have regional correspondents across the country that disseminate and also work with health ministry. They closely work with them in tandem to inform and educate and also sensitize the layman that is sitting at home, to better understand these issues, in a broader context, in the local languages. Yeah.
So
for the first time, the association.
So many of them would go on local radio, for example.
They will go to local radios, NatBank, the LRRs, and the URRs. For the first time, the association has also established that. Since after our elective congress.
So how do we ensure accurate health information is shared with the public?
Well, we closely work with the health ministry, also in partnership with the National Nutrition Agency, because I could fully remember in one of our meetings with them, one of the officials said one particular journalist, not to mention
not
the
to
name,
embarrass anybody.
Yeah, the name withheld. He said because of their jargons, the health journalist was not able to, or not willing to approach them and talk to them that, what is the meaning of this?
Can you simplify it?
To simplify it in the context for the layman to understand.
Quite.
So, it was a misrepresentation. And then, so that is what they said they wanted to fill the gap, felt the need that now there is an established body called the Association of Health Journalists, to work with them in terms of accuracy, and also in terms of all the issues that, we do not understand that are complex, to simplify them and also reach out to the masses.
So how do you handle misinformation in health reporting?
Well, basically in journalism, misinformation, we categorically put a rejoinder.
I was going to say,
Yeah, a rejoinder, because basically that is journalism, that is the norm, that is the standard. You come with a rejoinder and say that this particular information was misinformation, and we take the full responsibility for that.
All right, so I would like to know challenges on sensitive matters as far as health is concerned. What challenges do you have in reporting those?
Thank you very much. Of course, the challenges are numerous. For example, a lot of, as he said, a lot of information being filtered which are very unhealthy and unrealistic in terms of facts on health. But then, for example, when we have issues concerning veterinary, that there was an outbreak of animal disease. So things like that, there are a lot of information being flowed around. So you get to the right sources. Right sourcing is very important in reporting on health matters. This is one of the, it's another way to cope misinformation and then the challenges which emanate with regards to fake news. And the other challenges we have is we have a lot of outlets now. We call them citizen journalists, Facebook pages. You do not have control. For example, this establishment, I call them, you cannot say we're going to lock you up or we're going to.
Because they don't have a physical building.
The information they had, the space is there for them. So this is a challenge for us in reporting, and a lot of people are also coming into media who have not undergone training. So they're also doing their programs on radio, doing their write-ups with regards to health issues. You have a lot of people also who are around, give information about different type of medicines around. So these are all challenges we have in reporting. So and major also, issue is that sometimes you don't get the right information at the right time. But we're hopeful with the enactment of the access to information law that would be addressed.
Sheriff wanted to come in.
And thank you very much. In addition to what Ture said, due to our constraint, we felt the need that this year we are going to introduce the NCD, that is non-communicable disease, the mental health and the nutrition award.
Okay.
2025.
This is for people who report on those
report
issues.
on that.
Okay.
And this category of awards will be imperative by and large. It will add significantly to journalists to do stories that are health driven into these categories. And also an award committee will be set up to investigate and also to award and nominate best investigative health-driven stories. So we are kickstarting that, and also we are reviving the quarterly magazine for the first time. This year. So because of that, due to all of these constraints, we want to kickstart all of these things this year. So for the first time in the name of the Association of Health Journalists. Yes.
So how is the association funded?
It's a non-profit.
Non-profit. So how do you keep going? You're talking about a magazine. Do you have a physical office and staff that operate there? How is it run?
Yeah, we do not have the physical office that is set up right now. We are already partnering with the National Nutrition Agency.
Okay.
As they said, they are going to fund this year for the introduction of the health award. We are planning it in December.
Okay.
And also the Minister of Health and also WHO. We are banking on their support. But basically we have the approval of the National Nutrition Agency.
Okay.
So do we normally have capacity building trainings?
Yeah, we do. We do series of capacity building. Last year on nutrition and many health related areas. Yeah, because this is vitally important to strengthen the capacity of health journalists. I don't want to use this word building the capacity, because building means you are starting afresh, you are starting new.
From scratch.
Yeah, from scratch, but to strengthen their capacities on health reporting in this country.
Well, in some cases you might be building from scratch, because we have many journalists here. For example, we have, if you were to look at sports journalism, I think they probably outnumber health journalists 100 to 1. So somebody who's usually reporting on sports, but even within sports, there's a health aspect of it. The health of athletes, the health of sports performers. So you could entice them that way to say, look, even if you're just a sports journalist and you think that's all you want to write about, what about the health side of it and so on? So how do you entice people to join the association?
Yeah, how we do to entice them is that we do this sensitization, and also we have established the WhatsApp page, whereby we reach out to journalists that are particularly focusing their beat is on health issues, health reporting. Even me and my other of my executives, we do it as our duty to reach out to them and say that, we can have you on board, and then you can do these stories on this, because health is very diverse. Even on nutrition, nutrition is well diverse. Nutrition itself, you can have a lot of issues that you wanted to focus on and do your stories, human interest stories that will touch the lives and livelihoods of the people, So this is one of our instruments that we use to channel the communication to them and reach out to them and then entice them to the association. And then many people are now joining in. Many people are now joining in.
Well, I did ask if you have numbers. Do we know the numbers at the moment?
The numbers currently we have approximately nearly 100.
Okay, that's
100 members.
Yeah.
So that is different from the executive.
Okay. Right, no,
that is general membership.
How do we involve local communities in health discussions?
Regional.
Maybe just to take you back, because I'm from a radio background and traditionally I'm a local announcer. So we've been engaging with the community. There were a lot of projects that were implemented by the Ministry of Health that we were part of as local journalists, because I started at community radio in Brikama. So during those times where you have the HIV/AIDS project, you have a lot of other immunization activities that we were normally on radio, presenting our programs in local languages. Then in there we open phone lines where we interact with the community, and then because normally we have guests in the studios who are experts, so the community will have a chance to interact with them and ask questions and clarification is done. That has been happening. And as he said, we have members all over the country, community radio members. There are many now. So in their various community radios, they will present programs on health. So in community radio itself is closer to the community. So community interacts with the radio in their own languages that they understand.
So finally, how do you ensure journalist safety in reporting high-risk health issues?
Because we will, all of them to work with the Gambia Press Union. I am serving as the Vice President currently, because currently at the GPU we have the welfare unit, the GP welfare unit, that monitor the safety and security of journalists in this country. So also as an affiliate, it will closely work with GPU in tandem to ensure that the safety and security of health journalists are a major concern, and also, it is a welfare that needs to be protected in this country.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program, and we hope to engage you more and more in the future.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Balde.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adi.
So, viewers, we'll take a short break. After the break, we'll be talking to the police PRO, Modu Musa Sisao. The man is making headlines. The man is always on television, talking and connecting.
I don't think he would like to
be
described as somebody making headlines.
Connecting the people and the Gambia police. You understand? So now we are seeing the police differently, the way we used to. So we'll take a short break. After the break, we'll be back.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minteh, rifled in! Out.
Hidandi da wawi sodu de cash power e Q money wallet maong te ayobata hai hunde ida wawi sode ko yeha guluji chapan $30. Kawatano baby, wadu dial star 323 has joka sartajiding subada option 3 fi Q power. Ontumasi suboda register meter number sa gaini natina number meter maong. Wadu dial star 323 has joka sartajiding suboda option 3 fi Q power. Ontumasi suboda ko jelu falda sodude. Awawa hebude ko bura Andre free QCell airtime watu kala soruda Q power fi hebugol hen ko labi de wayno de 133 Q money suñu kalpe.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte. Rifled in! Out.
Korea lonne ko anila kiw money wallet isa kiw power sanno katafo wulitan saba andung ita fenjola. Ibe minkela ibanna Apple download la wala yesta 323 has dial B yebula sartol noma. Follow ye register mita tombo. Fulanjao yela mita nomba dundi. Yesta 323 has dial B yebula sartol noma. Follow iba number 3 la detela puri yakiu power soto no. Fulanjao iba number 1 la detela katombondirke hapola ilafta min sanna. Amanda Wola, wati ye kodo dundi pour ka kiw pawasan, kiw sel beso la free bonus lale. Ni lafta kuma ko yomo yele nyinto, kumandiro ke 133. Kiw money, sunyu kalpe.
We are back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Now let's head to the last segment of this program. And in the studios, we have the police PRO, the public relations officer, a regular guest
on this platform.
On this platform. Recently, we've seen a lot of activities happening at the Gambia Police Force and the PRO coming out and, you know, informing the public. Whatever happens, I mean, whether they are trying to intensify security, I mean, he comes out and talks to the public. And he is one of the persons that you can call directly and you talk to him. In fact, sometimes I am proud to sit in the midst of people and pull out my phone and say, I'm calling the PRO, the Gambia Police
Name
Force.
dropping.
He's my brother, you know?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so today we'll be talking about the Farafenni incident, the shooting incident at Farafenni, and of course the Gambia Police Force also intensifies, I mean, the road clearing exercise as well. We've seen you on QTV News yesterday. I mean, you were, I mean, on the job. So, Piero, let's start with this shooting incident. But first of all, good morning. How are you?
Thank you. I'm okay, and it's my pleasure to be here once more. Like you mentioned, I'm happy to be here because it is important that we cement that, and you know, that continues to ensure that we give the public the required information on time. So this is why I'm always here, and I'll keep being here.
And you give them accurate information because people have their own versions of information that goes everywhere.
Exactly. So let's start. Can you give us detail about the Farafenni shooting incident? I mean, when it happened, we didn't want to say it. We just want to hear from the PRO himself.
Thank you very much. The incident, it's very unfortunate that it happened in the early hours of Monday. And when these attackers, it's a number of people. We can't specify the number because the officers who were on the ground could only tell us it may be more than 10 people, but the specifics we could not get, basically. And it was at a time, it was very late in the dark, but we are aware there has been some attacks on the fuel stations, you know, and for that reason, we have this arrangement with them to provide security for them, especially.
Right, because somebody did ask me why was there security at the petrol station, but you're right.
In the nights. I think it happened in around Brikama, Jawel, and so we were at a point, I think, you know, a gang went there and took some money and all that. So, and that's not the only one. So it was important that we have security. So the police provides security for this and many others. And unfortunately, that fateful day, our men were on ground and they came, you know, what we call cartouche. I think locally we call it cartouche.
Oh, they were using cartouche?
Cartouche, yes, because people thought it's an AK-47. But how we are able to know this is because, you know, the bullets that were.
The spent casings.
Yes, and all the casings and everything. Exactly. So basically, that's what happened. Fortunately, it was not very life-threatening. They exchanged fire. Actually, they exchanged fire. And they were able to get a target on our man. One of them was shot at, you know, but fortunately, it did not penetrate that much. So it's not life-threatening. You could see some of the impact on the body and all that. So it was taken to the hospital, was screened medically, because we also have a medical unit. Now that we are strengthening, we have qualified medical doctors.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I'm happy to say, even this ongoing recruitment right now, we are recruiting more doctors again. So this is important. At that side is fine, but the bad news is that we are still unable to identify or even to get a lead on the attack, actually. You know, so it's important that the public knows this, especially around that environment. And this is not the first time we've been having attack of police officers around NBR. You could remember the first Jaga incident, you know, and at a time that, remember, our police officer even shot somebody at the buttocks, and everybody was like, you know, but this is what is happening. This the unfortunate realities are there. Yes.
So what is the current situation of the community in Farafenye following the tragedy?
Yes, I think naturally in any environment, if such happen, actually, you know, there might be chaos and uncertainty around, and we are aware of this. But from the information we are getting from our regional command is that, you know, this seems to be an isolated incident, especially in Farafenye itself. So they are going around, and we have community policing component within regions that would meet Alcalos and Safewell and all that, because we have to work with them to be able to know. The police can't be everywhere and wouldn't be able to. And I'm sure they might be hidden somewhere. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. They will fall out and somebody will just report somebody, and before you know it, we'll get the criminals.
I mean, I think one of the reasons why people are asking is that when the people guarding returned fire, there was no sense that they hit anybody, so there's no blood or anything like that, because, you know, that's one of the things people are asking. Well, if somebody's wounded, they probably need to go somewhere to get treated and so on, but none of that happened as far as we're aware.
Yeah, at the moment, even if it does happen, maybe they have not gone to the hospital, maybe they're handling it at their own level, but how long would they be able to handle that? That's another. And again, we have not seen
quite.
Fiaro, as much as the Gambia Police Force, you're doing your best. I mean, we can see improvements, you know, a lot of capacity building, training. But the thing is, I mean, these guns, are they not registered? Sometimes some of these cartouches, before you own them, they need to be licensed. You know, but through the bullet, you should be able to know this bullet is from so and so.
You've been watching too much CSI.
Yes, because sometimes bullets you just buy it in the market, local market, the Lumos. They just go to Lumos and buy. You know, which means any cartouche can take any bullet system. So basically, I don't think that's the case. The case is that, yes, on a normal circumstance, we would register people with cartouche. But many times what happens is, you will register once, and it's annual. When you register once, hardly some people would come back. And I think a few weeks ago, I was having this discussion with one of our licensing officers in CRR. He was like, Cesar, I think you should also include in your sensitization about this registration, not just about the license, but even about gun license. Because many times at the regional level, he would have to go to the communities, talking to them so that they can come and re-register there, because it's an annual thing. You know, in addition to their safety and safety of the community, but also it has some economic impact. Yes, for registration.
So we've also seen a press release from the Gambia Police Force in connection with the conditions of the officers. What is the current situation?
Yes, the last time I spoke to the medical doctor, what he actually assured me, or what he told me of the situation, is that it's not life-threatening at all, and even the officer was not admitted at all. You know, he was actually scanned, X-rayed, examined in general to actually see whether there are any issues. But fortunately, nothing that could be life-threatening. He was given medication, and then he was asked to go home. You know, and given appointment to come back, you know, or advised to come back if there is any changes, because medically, you know, things could change at any point in time. So at the moment, as I speak to you, he's in good health. He's taking medication, and we'll continue to monitor his situation, and we'll also inform the public that this is what is happening, and we'll continue to do that.
It used to be the Jawel incident.
Yes.
And, you know, at some village too, I think around the North Bank region, something happened, a shooting incident. And now it's the Farafenye. So what are we doing to intensify security measures? I mean, the boys should be on alert all the time.
Yeah, it actually used to be around the border villages and all that, the Panchangs and that, you know, but now we are seeing in almost the regional capital. Farafenni is kind of a regional capital, you know. Though it's not far from the border, it's just less than 5 kilometers.
In fact, most of the discussion that we had was that people said if they had crossed the border, they probably fled across the border again. So
exactly. So that is just on the side. On this sideline, you're aware last week we received the Inspector General of Police of Senegal, for the first time visiting the Gambia Police Force, and among the discussions are this, you know, cooperation, security cooperation, border patrol, irregular migration, drug trafficking, and all that. So I think all of these things in due course would be a thing of the past. I know it's difficult. Criminals are criminals. They have their ways. And like they mentioned, the phrase that I actually appreciated during that discussion was, criminals have no border. There is no border. So when they attack here, they run to Senegal. When they attack in Senegal, they come to the Gambia. So we have to cooperate as institutions of security to be able to see how best we can work together to mitigate this challenge. So I think that's one disadvantage or advantage that they are using in attacking us and running into the borders. And you know how our borders are. Everywhere is a border. You know, formal borders are there where people can cross, but if you just want to smuggle whatever, there are many ways they can.
So has there been a general appeal to the public to come forward with if they have any information regarding this particular incident before we move on to
Yes. At the community level, at the regional level, and also at our level, while we also send the public, informing the public this happened, we also solicited their support in any case you identify any, not only in Farafenni, but in general. But in that case, actually in Farafenni, that if you observe and realize anything that is of security relevance, it's important that you can communicate to the nearest police station or communicate to us directly.
Exactly. So let's move on to the Gambia Police Force intensifying road clearing exercise again. Sisao, it's like people are digging and other people are still putting sand back to that hole again. When we clear our roads, we don't want people to encroach again. But still, the places, I'm pretty sure the places we cleared a few months back, people have now encroached those places again.
It's 1 year plus. We are heading to 2 years on the same operation. Like I said yesterday, I think we are a country and we are advancing, we are developing. And development comes with cost. We wouldn't say, okay, for the past 20, 30 years, that's what they would say, I've been here for the past 5, 10, 15 years. This was happening for the past 10, 15 years. We don't expect that to continue as a country. We have to accept what had happened or what was happening was not correct.
Wrong. Yeah, quite.
Now that we are agreed, and I would tell them that because some people try to even politicalize this, even on the ground yesterday. You know, XYZ, I said, listen, even if that is the case, you have voted in people to take charge of the responsibility of this country. Now it is upon them to ensure that they do what is right. They have come together and agreed this is the way forward. And they have spoken to the public to understand that this is the way forward and it's for the interest of the community, for the public. And when we started, everybody agreed because the impact was immediately realized. How the impact, the positive impact. But the issue now is for people to comply, to maintain that. And you know, we could go into the legal, you know, enforcement and all that. That's the one part. But also, you know, the Gambia is this maslaha. Gambia is a maslaha syndrome issue. You know, people would always come balalma, filade, sumanja board and all that. And this has affected. We have taken people to court. And we also are aware also our court system. What I mean by court system, our laws. Our laws are weak because our laws have been here for more than...
Old laws.
Exactly. So you go to court, you charge somebody $500.
What is it? I'll pay 500 and move.
And go back. Before they come back to your end is after 1 week. Within that 1 week, how many 500 are you able to get? This is what is happening. So this is a different ball game now. What we are trying to do now is to come up with something that is solid enough to be able to, whether we are going to take dressing from the COVID-19. You remember COVID-19? We never had COVID-19. But when they came, the executive brought in an ultimatum, executive order, to say that when this happens, this is what is going to happen. So we are thinking if the laws are not enough to tackle this situation, then we will take another step of coming up with something that is binding, so that people can be able to realize that, because we have done the talking now. Nobody in this country would say is not aware of the Operation Clear the Road. And I'm sure everybody, even the politicians that I have listened to, agreed with us that this is relevant, this is good. Yes, one or two people or others can say, okay, the manner in which it is done in certain instances and circumstances is not the best. Yes. No one is perfect. No system is perfect. We agree. But again, we can't be keeping on doing this. This roller coaster going and coming on a daily basis. I was really surprised and amazed yesterday when we were at the ground, or on ground, because I have not been there for over 6 months. So when we had the publication day before yesterday was my first to join the team. Okay. And unfortunately for me, King was with the presidency. So on the ground, I became the most senior officer. This is service. You are not PRO. You are the commanding officer on the ground. The moment you are the most senior, everybody will listen to you. So I had to take charge. And I know that's why people might say, why is PRO leading the team?
I saw PRO taking charge. I said, wow, okay.
You thought, where is King Coley?
Yes, we have to. That's the service. So, and that was good for me because I could hear from people. I could understand where they are talking from and all that. However, these are procedures. There is nothing wrong in doing business. No one discourages anyone in doing business. We even encourage people to do business. You understand? But when you are doing business, this is a country, it's a system. We have to follow the systems. And we got information from all the area councils that there are spaces inside. Yesterday, surprisingly, we met one of the market committee member. He told us, I told them, Ali Jankenyama, we came, we found everything is fine and all that. And you know what he told me? He said, Cesar, 10 minutes. I give you 10 minutes.
After you
just go. 10 minutes.
They'll all be.
It's as if you have never been here. I'm like, seriously?
And this is a discussion we were having before you came.
Yes.
We talked about the fact that, our reporter spoke to some of them and they said that when they knew you guys were coming, they ran with their stuff. And we questioned the sustainability of this operation. So yes, you may be doing this now, but how sustainable is it, and how do we make it sustainable?
The only way for me, this is my opinion, the only way that is sustainable in the sense is for people to pay for their actions. Because it's only when it is painful, when it's really hot, that, okay, if I do this, I'm really going to lose this. And that amount has to be something that is reasonable that is right now.
Punitive.
Yes.
Otherwise,
not just 500.
Not just,
And I think going forward, this is what we are going to do. This is what we are going to do, to come up with something. Because for how long will this continue? It's been 1 year and we are going. And it's like we've never done this. If you go to other places, apart from physical structures that we actually, brought down, the rest is the same. Wherever you go. And we are going day in, day and we are arresting people, they are paying, and even they have been fined, paying,
But because the amount is so small, they pay the fine. And
so what we will do is, I think that's what we are working on as a task force, to be able to come up with something. Because at the end of the day, it's the interest of the people. And I think that's what is important. People have to understand this is a national interest. Individually, yes, people are affected, because they are used to being there. But that doesn't mean that when they move from there, they're not going to have places to do their businesses. Right now, I am aware, since yesterday, I am aware the Brikama Area Council, they've also posted it on their Facebook page that they are actually allocating or relocating people, and this is what we encourage, to work together, and we are working together because they're also part of the task force. Area councils are part of the task force, so we encourage them. At the market, when I go, they tell me we don't have any place. I say, go to KMC. KMC told us that there is space.
Because that's the debate I saw I think when on your Facebook page. People were saying, "Oh, why are you clearing these people out without finding a space for them?" I then replied, I don't belong to the police, but I said it's not the job of the police to find them a space.
Exactly.
There are local councils, there are market committees. That's their job, not the police's job. If these people are contravening certain laws or bylaws, then the police have a duty to act.
Exactly.
So I know it wasn't my business, but I thought I had to say something there.
So there's sort of a claim that in Brikama, they are waiting for the Gambia Police Force, to come and do any clearing. The population of Brikama market will not allow anything of that nature. Is that true?
Actually, I equally saw, and people sent me screenshots of such messages.
From a particular individual who I will not name.
Exactly, it's for an individual or individuals, not just any person though. And my reaction to that is that as an institution, we've been working with Brikama Area Council closely. You are aware in the recent past, when we had that issue there, the Inspector General of Police himself and AIG, Assistant Inspector General of Operations, and other commissioners went to Brikama, and we had a discussion. He actually went and saw the environment and saw the place, the disputed area, and we had a discussion with the leadership of Brikama Area Council, and we came to an understanding that this is, and they agreed to work with us, and they've been ever since working with us. And if you can see their press release, there is an indication that they are relocating their members or their market vendors to places that they have agreement with the team responsible for Operation Clear the Road. That is very clear, meaning we are working together, and this is what we encourage, and this is what we are going to do. When we go to Brikama, we will work with the area council. We will work with the area council. We are not going into markets. What we are doing is the public highways. We are not going into the market, the public highway. And in Brikama, there are two main highways. The Jarasoma Highway, and the one going to the market, then to the hospital. And that's where the problem is. To the hospital, that's the problem, because the road to the hospital is occupied by vendors.
Well, that's in fact, Piero, that's a problem.
Yes.
What about an ambulance?
This is what I'm saying. That's the problem. So if we are saying, okay, that is a market now, so the Operation Clear the Road has no right to go there, then here is the problem. What we want is for us to work with them together. We'll invite them. We tell them, here we are. It's not obligatory upon us as a task force, but it is important, to work together with local institutions there, so that they understand we are all on the same page. We already are. That's my assumption, because already the Inspector General of Police and the chairman of the area council had a discussion about this, and we came to terms. And even after that, we've been working with them. We've been going there. So my expectation is that when we go there, we are going to cooperate with them, identify places mutually that these places shouldn't be, because everybody knows what a highway is. You understand? So I think that's a point of, that's my thinking. From the highway, go to the hospital, and it's an emergency route.
It's an emergency route,
so that does not require any congestion.
I was wondering, why do vendors occupy the route of the ambulance itself?
You don't know why? Because there's a lot of traffic. A lot of people come in and out of the hospital. So they get a lot of custom just by being in that spot. And so they don't care about the fact that it might be blocking an ambulance route. So as far as they're concerned, there are a lot of people going in and out, and those people will want to buy whatever they're selling. And that's why they think it's a good spot to occupy, of course.
That is a big problem. But Piero, what are we going to do? I mean, you didn't tell us. What are we going to do to make sure there is sustainability when we clear the roads, because it takes a lot of resources.
We talked about heavy fines.
we are taking a lot of resources from our coffers, injecting it in this operation. I'm pretty sure there are people that are to be paid, when it comes to clearing the road.
We are paid. We are paid on salaries. The police officers who are there, the soldiers who are there, the other security fraternity who are there, the area council members who are there, and anybody, all the stakeholders, the journalists who are there with us, National Road Authority, physical planning, all of these things. It's a task force. You understand? We are using vehicles, we are using fuel, and we are eating, provided food for us. So all of this, and I mean, the sun is very hot. On a daily basis, it's been hot, and we are repeating the same thing. We are finding the same people at the same spot. Yesterday, I would tell them, it's no excuse now. It's not. This is the law. We have to understand this is the law. The problem in the Gambia is that, yes, we understand this is the law, but please. Like, there is nothing wrong in me doing something that is illegal. Let's call it that way. Because others would want to say, okay, those words are very harsh. These are our family. They are just, just a table and all that. It's not about just a table. It's the implication of that. The implication is that if it's just one table, but you allow one table, another table, another table. This is the problem. And we need to understand that the truth is, the implications are, one, look at the traffic flow. They contribute in one way or the other, traffic flow. Number one, if they are on the pedestrian walking area, they are selling there, then somebody who is passing by now have to
come onto the road.
At that point, you have to divert and use the main tar road, and vehicles are coming.
Yeah.
You know, until when he or she has a space to be back on.
Okay.
That's an obstruction.
Okay, Piaro. Sambe Minkela, let's do this in local language. We have 5 minutes to go, but the 5 minutes we can try and sensitize our people so that they can understand. You know, laftale dro ya fonye operation credit road albe minto because ngajela kunu news to ifana wilta inila mol pour kata ka silol clair.
Abaraka baka nyin ka silol clair operation clear the road amanke kukuta ni banko kan sanje kilin nim fennem sign andu ngal nako muta ni banko kan memba fala ko makala muta mi long kangolong muna tin operation clear the road be kiri andu membe kumala science ambe to mem sanje kilin anen fen ku kilin me yalon ko mbaka ne mba denkilla suta tili be dunna be fundela akumata le pour tonya nga danke nyin amanke ko dangota keno lala de andu ngamul tale nyi samba kot ngamul la bagasol tale kita wato wati alimbalali alinketeng ngawo understand ndingol teninde ngobe understand bare sanji killing hani sa en ku killing me konnela andu mansila je follow silo membat na ko nyin akamunda be stop lale katung polisol damanta kenola stakeholders be fear lal dem bangtul be e ba kekan so be mol dan la menna wala ko kabo bila ngame kaben kun nga damuda kabo bila ninga momon ni muta be samala luwa nyaati lingola ngal ne ko luwa men belalen science andi ka chargiro men kela bu kasi ya bake kemelem kemenin fennen kemelu karaw fannala bare be silo men ta kan la fa silo men ta wala nal hakili bakan wadi soto dajan covid-19 wat nato mo regulation le bija e regulation la na fena wo regulation mo mondi yo walan doron bu sa nyaadal le be bu sala men njikita ko sayembe katol ke kan pour ka regulation na de bay di luwa ko falling ay teria aka time tale ka luwa fali ba regulation o sinala me yalon ko be sembo dino la tax force la pour ye mo mondi muta don ni samba code o be sembo la magistrato la o jojo men betara code pour que busa o busula me yalon ko la anda abe kala busa daya me abe kuli ala bakel de katu ngaji ko wo is the only solution katu asenatan tol maleko palasol bijele KMC Brikama area council Banjul ni be do ko ke kan ande be kato ke kan ke la mol wulinde sido kan ke samba dulal te nyanta ka firo ke da bar men ka ke problem modi comme na boss bota fala nyame wala ko mul kana sila dandan wala badi yaje ko tani naka tara wol to baake ikaje hani mo be tambe be jikan do ko le bitaka ye bombongoje hakilo ma bombongoje imam bombongo plan ka sang dini wala bari yesido kan do bombongoje do ko do ngalo nga bombongo sang ya fahamle so akamunda wotani nanye si dor kan wala bandi ma jeno nyita sannade wala foni lafta kasa yewule ta fo marché ko no bombon sang ya samode ni wala suwa kono so nyine ka sabu mul kana silo kan baydi silo kan trafic ko kasiya ba bari be mum fala mun don an luwa ma nyota an fen nan luwa ma nyota me fen ke ka kunna am maslahalte an nyim maslahadu wala ba tinna la na nyato tana development na advancement of this country nimman tani hakilo don be tulakko mal hanisa hade
yo akuma yata ba ke amira fana nyimmel yalo ko to ka duty ta e ka mol journey duty la katum bi nata nganna tabulo landi silo kan duty mano nata e duty kuntu aya dinna aka munda ko ay sembo dinna la pour nga sije ya mera wol fana mantara problem o ki kamba
hani niya duty la document wala mo we firo ke kan within the area council mo be firo ke kan nyanta ka duty jole regardless of abe dawoda as far as be fam soto kan aba soto kan dawoda nyanta ka duty jole one thing net woning pour kadula de lebe sabati la dame wo ni wo man nyoso to fenna yeah because ne dula de la be bungu jolale e ka bungu jole ka luwa so jole men bita area council to ana nyongole fana be la business okela registration ko katara wala kono aning ila tax katara wala kono an all bari men ko petit trade men katara silol kan an all that mulet men ya lon ko fo rate jo e ka fani rate fo ya jo so rate ning does not justify ko ante ka duty jole so yente bula kasijang abena hani nata westfield silo kan tending koma wa filal an oda mo wa ko petit trade le amansia e ka o do man ngo men sote kala dimba tambini wala bari njikita ko dula fana si sotno le star no dame ya lon ko sila do man ngo soto kado ni sula tending koma ka sanda ibita wala
ibita jele ko
bari silo kan dame ko mo tolle ka boriji an all that be mol danela don e kato ke yewdul wala hade
Piaro Abarka, thank you very much the PRO of the Gambia Police Force for joining us on the program and enlightening the public on the clearing exercise and of course also clearing our doubts about the shooting incident. So it's important. Thank you, PRO, for always willing. Thank you very much. Thank you. You should give him a QTV badge. I mean, now a QTV star.
Very soon.
Yeah, so Mr. Ade, thank you.
We reached the end of the road for today and for the week.
Exactly.
This is it for the week until next week.
Yes, absolutely. Cool. Yeah, so thanks to our camera crew, the beautiful Therese, And of course, Edu, not forgetting our director, Aliou Jallo, and our executive producer, Lassana Tunkara, not forgetting Babukar Sise. I mean, he played a very significant role this week, this morning. So thank you, Babukar Sise. We appreciate. Until we come here again next week.